Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and this layout is for the Secret Net Secret Kit Club's Lynette's challenge, where we pretty much had to use a song title or a lyric somewhere on our page or use it for inspiration. It was pretty open-ended, but I'm doing a wedding photo, so it's not for my book. This is because I'm trying to work on Avery's book, so I do have a layout of him in the photos at the reception, so I definitely wanted to make sure I scrapbooked that. I didn't even think about having a picture of just me and Marcus with this photo. Like, I might have to do a companion page of a picture of me and Marcus, just so I feel like it's weird. I realized after I did this page, I did a wedding photo without the bride and groom. Even though I noted it was Marcus's and my wedding. So I might be making a companion page for this one to go in Avery's book, even though Avery won't be in that picture, just so this kind of all makes sense. But I do have two 4x4s that I'm trimming down of the reception that you can see my family, and Avery's in both of those pictures. He's in Grandma's arms in the first one, and his mom's arm in the second one. So I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I'm pulling in this collection. I've had this collection for a while because I knew I needed wedding themed stuff for either my mom or my album. I think I made a couple pages when I was scrapbooking my mom's wedding for my book with this collection, but it still does go pretty well with my colors. It's not a collection I want to use for all of the big events, but for like this one that's going in Avery's album, I'm happy to use it, and some of the miscellaneous things in my album, I'm happy to use this collection. So I figured since I'm out of my kit for this month, I can try and dig into this one for a couple pages. I'm adding both the photos in a skinny border of white and then onto some wood grain from my stash, and then you can see, hopefully you recognize that gray and white ledger print. That is a scrap from my kit this month, which I thought I would have left over at the end of the month. But as I was piecing together this page, I realized I could use that ledger print to fill in the 12x12, since I had this chevron scrap here that filled in the gap. So I'm piecing together these three scraps to create my 12x12, which makes me super happy because that means my pattern paper from my kit this month is getting used. So that's one less thing I'll have to show you at the end that I didn't get used up. But yeah, I decided just to create my 12x12 with these scraps. So I have this large chevron band down the middle, and then I layered my two 4x4s together, staggered them slightly for some interest, and this is now my starting point. So the chevron is very busy. I wasn't sure how I was going to use that as my background, but I know there's a lot of cut aparts in this collection, in these pocket cards here, that I could really pile up. So I'm thinking it'll be fun to kind of create a very stacked up with cut apart embellishment type thing. So I know one of these pocket cards has a wedding cake on it, so I definitely want to try and get that one used up. And I'm really going to try and make sure my colors are balanced on this one. So specifically the light blue and the green and the pink, I really want to make sure are balanced everywhere. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in mind too as I'm selecting which pieces I want to use. I also have a sticker sheet from this collection that came with this little kit. So I'm really trying to use what I can, because I don't have a whole lot of this collection. So with the pages I am getting done with it, I want to use as much of that ephemera as possible. So you can see I kind of pulled out the cut aparts that have details that I'd rather use fussy cut, and I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut them so that they're available for when I want to use them. I love this little mason jar. That one doesn't get used up on this one. But yeah, so I'm just cutting the little ticket corners out of these other little details too, which I think is sweet. That way they're just ready to go. But this wedding cake one, you see I have on the layout. I definitely want to use that one on here. So I'm going to get that trimmed up. I don't really have a plan for this other than I want to layer up a bunch of these cut aparts. So I kind of start with this cake and build out from there. I do like that this cake has that green color kind of as a halo around the cake. So I kind of have a little bit of that green up there. But I will want some green towards the bottom of the page to help balance that So I'm kind of thinking about that. I already have this scrap of green to the left, so I'm thinking that'll be a layer down towards the bottom to help balance that cake that I'm going to have on top. So that's kind of where I'm starting, but I haven't gotten really any farther than that. This is where I have that green scrap, and I decide to create a fishtail banner that'll run below both of these photos. I've really enjoyed doing that lately. I hope that's not too repetitive, but I've really enjoyed making a banner kind of my anchor point, my horizontal anchor point to build from. So I've noticed I've kind of done that a lot, but that scrap was just perfect for that, so I couldn't help myself. It wasn't quite long enough, but since I do have that photo that is slightly shorter, I'll just make sure that photo runs down off the edge a little bit to cover the gap of the green banner, which again, I think is kind of fun. It adds some interest. So I have that down. And now I'm going to start with my cluster. So I am thinking my cake will be right there. I really like how the corner of that cake stand kind of hugs the corner. And then that little taupey ticket I also fussy cut from a card is going to be my first layer behind that, which I think is kind of cute. And then I was worried all these layers running onto the chevron would look busy, so I decided to go ahead and layer up a doily just to break up a little bit from what I was going to layer up in the background, just so there's kind of this more white backing so it doesn't get too busy. But I like how that's looking. There is a whole bunch of branding strips from this collection, so I'm trying to see if any of those coordinate and could add to this little horizontal bit. And since I do have this green layer, I decided to add a pink branding strip running horizontally, which I think is kind of fun. And again, it's not a whole 12-inch border strip, so I am just cutting it and hiding it behind that second photo to make it look long enough. But yeah, I'm going through my scraps now, and then these are a bunch of the cut aparts that I pre-cut from one of the 12 by 12s, and now I'm just going through and trying to figure out what I want to add. I definitely like these solid colored labels, will definitely be nice if I need just an extra layer that's not extra busy. And I'm also pulling in a couple of the green pieces that I know I'll want to add to kind of balance the green pattern paper and the green halo around the cake. So right away I see this little deliver to Mr. and Miss, so I decided to use that as my little journaling spot. So I said Mr. and Miss and then cherry underneath. And then underneath that, I just said Aunt Kelsey and Uncle Marcus's wedding and the date. That's nice because it got my journaling done. And then I'm pulling in this little lacy die cut piece. So Jennifer sent me the sweetest little card for Valentine's Day where she had punched a bunch of these die cuts. And I just thought like she had intended them to be on wedding pages, and I was like, yep, those will be perfect for wedding pages. So this is the first wedding page I'm doing. I definitely wanted to get one of those on. So I'm using one of the white ones that she gave me just to kind of balance the doily a little bit. I don't know if it competes with the doily too much, but I really like that lacy edge. If I would have thought about this beforehand, I would have used another one of these die cuts instead of the doily on the other side. But I think the doily looks really sweet, and I like how it's kind of rounding around that kind of cluster. So I'm just going to use both of them. But I love this lacy detail that's coming out from the cake cluster, and it kind of wraps around to the banner to the right. And I think it kind of connects all these clusters, which is really sweet. But it's white, so it's not competing. It just kind of adds extra texture. And an extra layer with it, which is really nice. So I love that little piece. I can't wait to use more of those on my wedding pages. But now that that's down, I'm trying to add some more layers. I kind of added a big pink stamp behind my journaling. There's a sticker from the sticker sheet that was in that green that says "So in Love." So I layered that on top of the cake with some foam dots, which I think is really nice. I love that particularly because that really kind of plays off of the fishtail banner on the bottom that's green, so I like that. But I was kind of feeling like I needed a bigger pink element, so I did take a scrap of pink and trim it into a tag. So I'm just adding a white hole reinforcer, and then I actually have some green and white twine, and the green is pretty close to the green that I'm using on this page, so that's what the twine I'll use through that tag just to add another pop of green, which is really sweet. And now all I'm doing is going through cut aparts and anything that's kind of a neutral layery bit I'm adding. So this extra piece here, that's another pink stamp, I think is another nice layery bit coming out, and it kind of frames my little "So in Love" sticker that I just stuck down. Here's that green twine I'm adding to the tag, which I really like too. But yeah, this one, it was pretty simple. I really just went through the cut aparts and kept stacking until I was happy with it. I do add a part of a glassine bag behind the pink tag, just again for extra layer, extra texture, but because it's so neutral, it's not really distracting, which I really like. But yeah, I think it's looking really cute. I'm really liking how it's going. I do need a title, but I'm pretty sure I know where that's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all of this mess down to the page, and then I'll kind of go to my title. So I kind of knew all along from Lynette's challenge that I was going to have a song title as my layout title. So I really just kind of Googled wedding songs and wanted one with the sentiment of love, because I feel like that kind of title would go good for everything. And what I found is the most perfect song ever to be on this page. I've done this several times before. I love using Beatles songs as a title for pages that has my mom on them, because it's just very nostalgic and sentimental, because whenever we're out running errands or garage sailing or anything like that, we have the Beatles on in the car. So I love using Beatles songs as titles for pages that she's on. So for this one, I decided All You Need Is Love is just the most perfect title for this layout, and it goes with the challenge, but it also has my mom on this page, so I know she'll appreciate it. But yeah, that's what I decided to do. Before I get to the title, I just want to make sure I'm happy with all of my clusters. I am just adding this little florally cluster to the right on that fishtail banner. I just wanted something down there so it wasn't so plain. And then a couple smaller stickers from the sticker sheet. There's this little circular floral piece I'm popping up on some foam and adding on my little journaling tag, which adds some dimension, so that's nice. And then there's a little gray heart that I'm going to add down by that floral I just stuck down, just so it has a little friend. I didn't want there just to be one random sticker down there, so that helps that there's two. But I think all of my clustering I'm pretty happy with. I knew I kind of wanted to do my whole title in white, but I didn't have enough white to do it. But I thought maybe if I used my white just for the word love and then some tile stickers for the rest of the title, that could work out good. You get 3 title alphas with this collection. There is, there's a pink, an aqua, and a black. So I'm thinking I will use the aqua for my title, the tile letters, and then I want one more cluster above the title just to really tie everything together. So I'm thinking since I used blue and white for the title, I would do some green and pink in the cluster, and that way all the colors are up there by the title, which is really nice. So here's that sticker sheet with all of those alphabets. I think I was about to use pink, and then I realized I didn't have the letters I needed it to be pink, or I was kind of going to break up the title into 3 rows, so I was thinking, oh, I could have a pink row, aqua row, and the white row with love. But again, I didn't have enough of the pink, so I'm doing the whole thing in aqua. So I'm just going to get all of that stuck down. I'm just going to try and keep it center, but it just says all you need is love, and I think that's really sweet. I love mixed titles so much. I love titles like this where you use the tile letters with thickers, and I haven't done it in forever. I know Tracy does it all the time, and she's the one I really picked that up from, and I haven't done it in forever. So this makes me happy that I kind of get to do that. But you can see now that the title's down, it kind of looks like it's missing something up there, so that's why I decided to go in with one more little cluster to fill it out. And again, since the title's the aqua and the white, I love this addition of the pink and the green. Hopefully it's not too confusing that the green has the word love on it, because I don't want you to read that as part of the title, but I think once you read the title you'll understand like that the embellishment is not part of it. I think it was missing one more little thing, so I was kind of thinking, like looking on the page of what elements I don't have up there, and what was bothering me was the wood grain. I have the wood grain framing the photos, I have the wood grain on the bottom of the cake stand ephemera, so I decided just to punch a little wood grain heart from scrap and add that up there. So I think that was the perfect kind of final touch. But this is it pretty much. So I'm really glad I finally got a wedding page done, even though it's not even for my book. But yeah, this is what it ended up looking like. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.